file in, but it looks like we already have about 20 people in the audience for this month's call. So we do this every month. We recap the latest features in version 1.21. So the agenda for this month, we'll go over the release highlights, talk about what's new in this release. Because we've been working on Dashboard, which is a new application layer for Hummingbot and allows you to run these new V2 strategies, I thought I would take some time and instead of just telling you about the new features, demo some of the the new authentication feature as well as the new backtesting feature that allows you to optimize strategies. And then finally, I'll go over some of the new changes we've added to Botcamp, our training program that teaches you how to become a market maker or an algo trader and use the more sophisticated strategies we now have in Hummingbot in a monthly program. So let's get into it. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat on Discord. In this release, we added a new Intro to Dashboard Quick Start Guide. So Dashboard is a more complicated application, but we think it's one that in the long term will benefit everyone in the community because it does a variety of things. It helps you create and run multiple instances. It helps you backtest and orchestrate a new type of strategy. And we have a bunch of community pages that people in the community have added, especially one for strategy performance, where you can analyze the performance of any Hummingbot strategy. So I'll get into more of that in the demo later on today, but we're quite excited about it. It is in beta right now because we want to try to move fast and try to get people using it. So there's definitely lots of issues and bugs with the current experience. But if you see them, please report them on GitHub, and we'll try to get them fixed over the next few months. So we do anticipate that Gateway will become incorporated into the official monthly release cycle before the end of this year. But until then, we want to try to essentially move a bit faster to try to get it up to a point where it can be truly be tested by the community. In the past month, we've added this intro guide, and we've also added an authentication module, which is optional, but it allows you to basically put a login screen in front of Gateway and add users by email into it. So, and the reason we did that is because we know that a lot of people want to use Hummingbot in a team environment, or when they're managing, let's say, a bot and they want to have clients log in and see the performance of that bot. So we think that Dashboard, by adding this auth module, will allow Hummingbot to be used more securely in a multi-role, multi-user setting in the future. So the way you use it, I'll show you later on, is there's a config variable in the config.py file, and its auth is false. I think it's false by default, but you can set it to true and enable authentication. So we've also added a bunch of improvements to the V2 strategy framework. And just as a motivation, I'll show you the differences between running a V2 strategy and a V1 strategy later on, and try to motivate from a performance standpoint why you may want to try the V2 strategies. Also, thank you, Thomas Gardino, for contributing to Gateway. Tomas, or Droopman, as he's probably better known in the community, is the main maintainer behind the strategy performance page. And so so I think he's done a lot of valuable contributions, and is a great example of leveraging the power of the community in helping us build Hummingbot. One quality of life improvement in this release. So when Hummingbot starts, it's actually faster. It'll be faster now because in going forward, it will only pull the trading pairs from the paper trading exchanges as well as any exchanges where you've added API keys. So it will no longer, by default, fetch trading pairs from every exchange connector in the code base. So not only does it make it faster, but also if you're in a geo-restricted region, like I am in the US, beforehand I just saw a bunch of errors from exchanges where their APIs were blocked in the US, but now I don't see that anymore, and it's a faster experience. So thank you, Israel Lee82 for that contribution. This was actually a bounty that we created, and we're happy to see that someone from the community has earned that bounty for fixing this issue. In addition, we also removed a few connectors from the code base due to governance. So alt markets, Binance UIs, and Bittrex, as well as Loopring and Tefira. This is an ongoing process we do every month, every quarter, in terms of voting with the HBot governance token. And we believe this ensures that our bandwidth in terms of maintenance, in terms of documentation and testing, is reserved for the exchanges that the community really wants us to maintain. So a bunch of other fixes in this release, just to call them out. There was actually an issue on Dex a lot, I think, with lost orders. And so thank you, Coin Alpha, for resolving that issue. And I think this will make a big difference from those who are using Hummingbot to earn rewards on Dex a lot, because now those strategies should work much better. And in addition, we've also made a bunch of improvements to the way the Hummingbot works on Binance, which is our gold connector. There's a bunch of hard to detect bugs that we've been able to address recently. And we're actually doing even more ongoing testing now to try to tease out more issues that we can address and make sure that Hummingbot is rock solid, even if you're running a bot for a longer period of time. And finally, last but not least, I want to thank the Injective team, especially A. Armoa or Abel, for updating the Injective connector. So now the Injective connector is a Python direct. It's a direct client connector, so it no longer uses Gateway. And there's a new documentation page that explains how users can connect to it. Okay, so those are all the features in the 1.21 release, but I think it would be easier for me to show you rather than just tell you about it. So let's go ahead and look at some of the new features in Dashboard that we introduced in 1.21. So this is, I have a dashboard running on AWS right now. So, and I just updated it to the latest version. So this is by default because I've configured the authentication module. This is what you'll see if you set the value true. So if you want to actually modify how it looks, let me show you where that is. So this is the actual code itself. So in your dashboard, you'll see this config.py file. Now, and if you basically set this variable auth system enable to true, then you will see a login screen when you enable dashboard. By default, I believe this is set to false, so you won't see it. But it does allow you to secure dashboard, especially if you're using it on a remote server. So let me log in now. So the first thing you'll see is this main page here. Every page has kind of like a README section at the very top. So this main page has the intro playlist that I mentioned earlier. There are 9 videos that show you step by step how to set up dashboard and use the different features in it, from deploying bots to the backtesting features. So please watch these videos. Fede and Fede spent a lot of time into making them, and we think that they're higher quality than the ones that we've made in the past. So once you've kind of understood how it works, I'll give you a quick tour right now. So there's a few sections here. So the 2 sections, the bot orchestration section helps you launch and manage multiple instances. And the backtest section helps you basically create a V2 strategy and backtest it and optimize it against historical data. And then you can also deploy these V2 strategies as an instance after you're done analyzing and backtesting them. And the third kind of main page I'll call out is this strategy performance page. This section here are intended to be pages that are maintained by individual community members. And so this is one that our community member, Droopman, has been maintaining. And this one helps you analyze the performance of a strategy. So this whole application is really a community project. So we encourage other members of the community who, if you want to add, other pages or contribute to other aspects of dashboard, please let us know on the dashboard channel on Discord or on GitHub. There's lots of other pages we can add. For example, things that analyze different markets, maybe, or analyze performance of more than one bot if you have more than one bot running. But we think there's lots of room for improvement in dashboard overall. So let me go into now and show you some of the some of how the V2 strategies in particular work. So as a motivation, this is actually a V2 strategy that I ran over the weekend in one of the bot battles that we did for Botcamp. So this strategy, I basically just ran this trading pair, as is, without a lot of changes. And so now the way that this page works is that if you run that bot and drop in the SQLite database from the bot, it will show you the performance of the strategy. So you can see basically this strategy, I ran it for about 3 days. This was really a test strategy, so I made sure the parameters were pretty conservative. So overall, it did 186 trades, but it actually made 85 cents USDT in profit, and it did quite a lot of volume. So overall, this page kind of helps me analyze what's actually going on. So if I were actually going to analyze this, for real, what I would do is I would actually spend a lot of time on this particular chart and try to understand, what led to my biggest losses as well as to my biggest profits. So for example, I can see here that a lot of my losses kind of happened early on when I was during this part here. So this chart is really helpful for me to analyze. So I can drill down into this section and say, what are the actual specific trades that my bot performed that led me to this loss. So I can see here that it did make some good trades. So it looks, I'm looking for instances where it's buying lower and selling higher, but because it seems like it did a lot of trades here, and it ended up essentially the buy price here was probably lower than the overall sell price. So this part here, I would probably look at what happened in terms of the market that led to this thing occurring, and see how my parameters in the strategy maybe could be adjusted to improve how it would handle this situation in the future. So part of it, I think, is this page, I think, really helps you iterate and kind of understand the performance of your strategy a lot more. So in contrast, let me show you the another one, which is the strategy performance file from the first bot battle that I ran earlier. So in contrast, this was actually a strategy I ran the last month using a V1 strategy on the exact same trading pair. And you can see that this strategy performed markedly worse, even though the two strategies were actually quite similar. And so the reason for that is because, and this strategy is much simpler. It manages, it's very similar to pre-market making. It's actually a more advanced form of pre-market making because it does have inventory shifts and everything. I explained this in a YouTube video earlier, but because this is a V1 strategy, the orders it manages are refreshed every X seconds, maybe 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, whatever parameter the user wants to set. But because the strategy is managing everything by itself, every order doesn't have a chance to kind of set its own take profit, stop loss, trailing stop loss, and other features. So what we've done with the V2 framework is allow every order to essentially manage its own execution afterwards through the position executor. So because of that, if you actually watch kind of the performance of these like the V1 strategies, what happens a lot of the time is that you do a buy trade and you want that sell trade to hit afterwards if the market's gone up, but if the orders are refreshed, your sell order kind of never gets hit, and you kind of like end up kind of getting whipsawed as the market rises and falls. So I highly encourage you to try out the new V2 strategies because even with very little modifications, and I really ran both of these strategies as experiments. Even with very little modifications, it's easy to see how the V2 strategies, on balance, will likely outperform the V1 strategies simply because because if you look at like this, it's actually it's a little more intelligent and it can manage every order. And so what you'll see is that the average buy price relative to the average sell price is likely to be more closer or even higher or lower than average sell price. Like in this case here, my average buy was this number, my average sell was this number, and so the fact that the sell price is actually higher than buy price is rare if you ran traditional kind of like simpler V1 strategies. So hopefully it's a motivation for you to try it out. And so the way you try it out is so there's in the Backtest Manager section, you can just kind of follow the steps here. So first, because of the two strategies separate the signal, how it determines whether to set orders, how it determines how to do that from the execution. Yeah, the first step is to fetch the data you may want to backtest one of these strategies. So that's what this page is for. And then once you have backtested, you can go to the Create tab, and then use one of the templates we have to create either directional or market making strategies, and you can also create your own as well. So, for example, the directional strategies here, I can show one of them. So this is this is one of them here. The directional strategies essentially allow you to define an indicator, kind of use the candles indicators and define a long and short condition, which is this one and -1 here, and then that will determine when a position will be created. And then similarly, we have some market making strategy templates here. So starting with the bowling grid one, and then we've also created of some more advanced strategies going from V1 to V2 and to V3. So these are all a little bit different. We actually explain and go into a lot more detail into these in our Botcamp school, and we try to explain how users should think about them and use them. But yeah, so right now, but you can create different strategies using these templates. One thing to note is that currently only the directional strategies can be optimized and backtested, and that's more because we do expect the market making strategies in the future to be backtestable as well. But right now, all you can do with the market making strategies is basically create these controllers and then run them from like run the corresponding scripts as well. However, the directional ones, as I show right now, can also be backtested and run directly from the configuration. So if you do want to backtest, remember, so you want to try with the directional strategies first. But in terms of backtesting, first, what you would do is you would go to this Optimize tab. And so you can select, first you would create a study. And so note that only the directional strategies are available currently for creating studies. Once you've created a study, like this one here, then you can run a number of trials for that study. So this study is one that we've kind of auto-generated, and essentially any parameter with the suggest kind of modify like method ahead of it is going to be in a something that Optuna, the optimization framework, will try to optimize. So if you want to limit or add to the number of things that you wanted to optimize, you can simply either remove these, like set these as individual values, or add more into it. So after you've run this, you can just set the number of add a number of trials, like this, and then run it. I've already done that here. So I just did 100 trials just to quickly show how it works. And so what you see here is that it's basically looked at this one strategy against historical data, and it's tried to estimate. It defined various parameters, it tested them, and it came up with this chart, which plots the profit of the trials versus the maximum drawdown or the maximum risk that you're taking. So the idea behind this is that then you can drill down into specific trials and understand them even more. So let's say you wanted to look at this one here, which had which basically did 5 positions and looks like it made money on 4 of them. So this is trial number 68. So you can just go in here and pick number 68. We will likely improve this UI in the future, but currently, you just need to select the trial. After that, it will populate the information down here below. You can modify it, or you can also, kind of hit this run backtesting button as well, and it will also kind of show the results of, basically what actually happened if you actually ran this configuration. In the new version, there is right now you have to define each order level that you want to place. This format is a bit cumbersome. So in the new version that we will, it's a pull request right now. There's a more elegant way to set these order levels and to define your strategy in that version. But overall, the idea here is that once you've defined and kind of backtested the parameters related to your strategy, you probably want to save a specific configuration. So you can save a configuration here like this with this button. And then afterwards, you can deploy that bot using the configuration in the deploy tab. So one difference in this section from the other ones is that there's no script associated with these configurations, and instead there's a generic script that runs all of them. So that way you don't have to think about the script. You just have to know what configuration that you want to run. One thing to note is that right now, by default, this candle configuration is set at 1 million records. If you actually don't change this, it'll likely hit API rate limits. So you may want to set it to something lower when you save your configuration. So you may have to change that, otherwise you'll hit some errors. But once you deploy, now you can deploy that. You can save the configuration. So I think this is the one I saved. And then now you can basically, once you hit the create button, oh, actually I need to find the name for that. So I'll call it 68. Now it's going to essentially take this configuration and load a generic script runner, so that it will then run. So after that, once you hit run, now you can go back to your instances tab, and you should see the instance running. You can see here. Let's actually attach to it and see what's okay. So here's the actual bot running. looks like, yeah, got some errors here. So I'll probably have to, as you can see, this is clearly in a beta product, but we think that the end-to-end experience is really already in place. Where you can fetch data, create a strategy that uses that data to essentially do something more sophisticated, backtest that strategy, and then deploy that backtested configuration. So I think we're going to improve the user experience and add more polish to it. But what we really need now is feedback. Feedback from the community, just to test this out and let us know what's working, what's not, what they want to see, so that we can know how to make this better in the future. So I would encourage you to try it out and let us know and either give us feedback on the Discord dashboard channel or on GitHub by filing issues. But as I mentioned earlier, I think the game changer for us is really having users really use these V2 strategies, which I think should hopefully basically allow you to make money and do better than the V1 strategies that we had earlier. Thank you. I think Emerald Odin you mentioned on the chat that there's lots to unpack in terms of and on Streamlit and all the things we have here. So overall, I agree. I think that we're not sure exactly how far we can take Streamlit in terms of actually building UI, but we do think that it's very easy to use, and it's also very easy for community developers to extend and to contribute to as well. So there might be some, a more fully fledged real-time version of this in the future, but at least for now, we think we can get pretty far with Streamlit and what it has. Let me switch gears a bit now and show everyone some of the changes we made to Botcamp. As an open source foundation, we think that obviously open source software is what we want to produce, but there's also a need to educate people on how to use the open source software and how to get the most out of it for their needs. This is especially important now that we have these V2 strategies, which by nature are much more complex than the V1 ones. And so we think that teaching people both the theory as well as the application is important to that. So this is a new Botcamp page. We just launched it last week. So there's a trailer video, which I won't play now, but you can watch as a summary of how Botcamp works. But overall, what we've turned it into a monthly program now. So every month there's a live session, which we teach some new topic. Usually it's pretty advanced. We then also have an office hour session where we try to answer questions from users and try to help them customize their strategies. And then finally, at the end of the month, we have a bot battle where it's a trading competition between the members. It's really for educational purposes. And the goal is to try to have everyone share their experience in the following month live session and try to learn from each other what works and what doesn't. Overall, we think it's really for both individuals as well as professionals who want to up-level the trading skills, learn both coding and trading, and hopefully master a skill that they can take with them for the rest of their life. So we have a bunch of people from top institutions or testimonials, but what I think the core of Botcamp is really the content that we've been publishing. So when Botcamp started, it was a 6-week course. We've had over 100 students go through it. So we've taken that and we've repackaged it into essentially a core course that teaches you the basics of creating various algo trading strategies. So the market making, arbitrage, cross-exchange market making, and directional. We also have events from every past session of Botcamp has been recorded and we make that available so you can kind of see past questions people ask during office hours, things demos that people have done earlier in terms of what scripts they built, and all other things like that. And then finally, because we're continually adding more content into the library, currently in this quarter, we're really focused on V2 strategies and trying to teach people how to backtest and how to create these new types of strategies, which can be backtestable, unlike the V1 strategies. And in the next quarter, we're going to really get into more data science. So adding machine learning and showing people how to actually incorporate some of the latest and greatest in terms of AI into Hummingbot and algo trading in general. And then in second quarter and third quarter, we'll try to have different themes, but overall, the topics will likely be a bit more advanced. And the idea is that people can always consume the core modules to get up to speed on the basics, and then we're going to try to get add more advanced content in the future. So the instructors, actually, Faded and I are doing it. We're both quite passionate about education, and we think that through education, this is how we can really expand the Hummingbot user base. So the way it's structured now is that because it's a monthly cadence, we try to have new things every month. We think that a monthly membership is the right model. So you can either basically buy a recurring monthly membership, or a 3-month pass, or a 12-month pass at different rates. So the most popular plan so far seems to be the 3-month pass, because there's a lot of content in Botcamp, and so usually I think experiencing it for a few months is the best way to get the value out of the program. So we've had a lot of students sign up recently, and so we encourage everyone to try it out. And the main reason we're doing this is because we think we can really scale education on algo trading to everyone in the world and teach them how to actually use Hummingbot to build what they want and to make money for themselves and for others. So I hope that just kind of gives you an overview of what Botcamp looks like today. Let me look to see if any questions. Okay. Yeah. So overall, I think if you just remember, if you know people who want to try out or want to learn algo trading or try it out, please refer them to Botcamp. We likely will have some type of referral program in the future, but because we're just starting off, we haven't started yet. But overall, I think that, to me, what Botcamp addresses is the desire for people out there to really learn the real algo trading. Approaching it as a science, as opposed to just like a black box algo that people are just running out there without a real understanding of what's going on under the hood. So our goal with everything we're doing with Hummingbot is to basically approach it like engineering. If you want to run a bot, you should really understand what you're doing, because that's the way that you're really going to turn that into a profitable, long-term, sustainable venture. Great question. Yes. Where is episode 6? So the episode 6, because it's episode 6 is really about the strategy performance dashboard. We wanted to invite Droopman, the maintainer, to help to create the video to explain it himself. So I believe that's in progress right now, and it will be updated in the next few weeks. So, but basically, episode 6 is essentially will show users how to use this strategy performance page. Another question: any thoughts about Elixir, the market making protocol? Seems very similar to Miner, and would love to hear more about plans around Miner. Great question. So we're actually pretty familiar with Elixir. I think they may be running a custom version of Hummingbot under the hood. But so this, I think the presence of other reward programs, I think, is one of the reasons why we split the foundation from our parent company, CoinAlpha, that operates the Miner platform. So the Miner platform, I think, for those of you who are out there, is our parent company's platform. This is probably the leading CeFi liquidity mining platform out there. So a lot of these users are running Hummingbot to earn rewards. However, there are other reward programs out there. I think Elixir is starting a one. We've heard of other programs out there as well. Also, the exchanges have individual programs that reward people for creating markets, and we're actually going to be working with a few exchanges and trying to kind of like make those reward programs more visible to people in the community. So because Hummingbot's open source, honestly, one reason why we separated from our parent company is so we could serve the entire market, and it's not just a tool that's used to provide liquidity to this one platform. So overall, I would say Elixir, I'm not sure they've actually launched yet, but if they have, and if there are rewards available, we would actually love to work with them and try to make those rewards, make it easier for our users to earn those rewards on Elixir. But my understanding is, I'm not sure if their markets are live, but if they are, let us know. I think for us, I think our goal at Hummingbot is really for the users. So it's almost like wherever users can make money, we would want to create guides or create integrations that allow people to do that. Another question from Nube, where can we find an agenda or timeline for future integrations into H5? That's actually a great question. So I would say right now, we actually want feedback from users in terms of where the roadmap should go. Currently, we don't have a great process for this, but there is a Hummingbot roadmap project that we should be using in order to communicate to the community and to also what we did. So we have published a few blog posts about the roadmap in the past. There's one in, I believe, in the blog here. We published at the end of last year that listed kind of our technical roadmap for the year, and I think we've actually hit most of the topics on that roadmap already. I think this is kind of what we said we would do. So we basically we've already created most of the things on this list. But I think actually now that we're approaching the end of the year, we should actually develop a roadmap for next year, and we definitely want to do that in conjunction with people in the community. So I think in the next kind of like a few weeks, I'll try to maybe write a blog post or post more info, and probably I'll definitely talk about it in the next community call. But I think heading into next year, we definitely want to try to get more community participation and help us decide, what should be the priorities for next year. Like, is it data integrations? Is it more connectors? But I think right now, I think with Hummingbot, I think we definitely have. We want to basically, we think that the code base is good enough to really scale to various and to really grow the community, and hopefully you can help us decide how to grow that. So I think there's some structure to this process. I'll try to probably write a blog post with various themes or various like priorities that could be focused on, and try to create a process where people in the community can give input into what the roadmap looks like for 2024. One more question. Yeah, I think, Maz there. Yeah, if you're a spot order book DEX, I think the best person to talk to is Luciana or me for now. If you could ping one of us on Discord, then we can tell you how the process works. I'm really loving all the participation we're seeing in these monthly community calls now. But we're seeing now we have almost 30 people in the audience. And it's good to see the numbers rising every month. And I think we'll try to make these sessions also more informative and hopefully more interesting in the future. Buddhist Horse asks if bot orchestration can be prioritized over backtesting. I think it's a question of resources, honestly. I think that we're trying to make sure that like with backtesting, we want to have something out there people could just test. So now I think it is testable, but I do agree that there's a bunch of issues related to bot orchestration that we can try to address as well. Yeah, and also thanks to the shout out Zephyr. Zephyr says Hummingbot is great and has potential for future growth. We definitely agree. I think overall, I think we're really starting to see the community elements of our hypothesis starting to work. I think it's been a long road to create something that's actually like kind of decentralized, to use a word that's popular in crypto. But I really do think that we are one of the only truly decentralized communities in crypto, and yeah, so like it's almost like it doesn't matter whether it's a bull market or bear market. The fact that we can create software that everyone can contribute to and use is kind of like why I'm doing this. Yeah, so I think it looks like if any more questions, please drop them in the chat. But it's great to see all the compliments from people in the community about what we built. It really helps me keep going, and same for everyone on the team. I think our model in terms of how we work with exchanges is more solidified, and I think we have a good model with Botcamp to try to grow the community through education. One more question that Zephyr asked is, do we have integrations or connectors with other DeFi infrastructure? We have some through the gateway module with DEXs and chains, but we could actually do a lot more, actually. For instance, we spoke with aggregators. So aggregators, any aggregator could actually build a connector into gateway, and people could use that instead of a normal connector to fetch prices or as a data feed, for example. So I think aggregator integrations is definitely something that Gateway should do. There's actually a Curve connector and a Ripple connector that will likely be integrated in the next few months. So we definitely want to integrate more into DeFi. Because of the user experience in DeFi, we do see much more volumes on the centralized exchanges, as well as on the club dexes that are very sex-like. Like DYDX. Aave, I do think that integration with lending protocols, I think is actually could actually be fairly interesting, because I do think that kind of like the ability to do like flash loans, combine that with some type of arbitrage transaction is definitely possible. Yeah, or frankly integration with Artemis as well. So Artemis is a Rust-based MEV framework that's kind of focused more on the DeFi type of arbitrage. And for us, honestly, like one reason why we haven't done much in the area was because we knew that it's just a lot of the architecture is very different and the infra needs are very different. So I actually think that the best approach would be an integration with something like Artemis, so that if a user can run a Hummingbot strategy and then kind of offload the DeFi part of it execution to Artemis, I think it would actually make a lot of sense. But I'm not exactly sure how the architectural integration would work. But if any user wants to try to make it work, I think it would actually be pretty amazing. I'm actually in the Telegram group. There's actually quite a lot of folks in the Telegram group that were kind of are very similar to the folks in the Hummingbot community, and I think there's actually quite a lot of room for overlap. So hopefully there's and I think it makes sense what they're doing. And for us, I don't think it makes sense for Hummingbot to reinvent the wheel, by building, everything on the DeFi side. So hopefully there's some way to integrate. Yeah, ultimately, I think this open source approach is going to work. It's been a tough couple of years in the bear market trying to create a truly decentralized model that's workable. But I think we found it now. And we're excited to keep on doing this every month and trying to grow the community and grow Hummingbot. Approaching the end of the call now, but thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you again next month at the Sun. Bye everyone.